Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Kita mulakan kelas kita pada pagi ini dengan membaca Ummul Kitab Al-Fatihah. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin, arrahmanirrahim, maliki yaumiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidina Muhammadin asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wasahbihi ajmain. Ya Allah ya Tuhan kami, ampunkanlah dosa-dosa kami, ampunkanlah dosa kedua ibu bapa kami dan kasihilah mereka sebagaimana mereka mengasihi kami di masa kecil. Ya Allah ya Tuhan kami, kurniakanlah kepada kami ilmu yang bermanfaat untuk diri kami, keluarga kami, agama kami, bangsa kami dan negara kami. Ya Allah ya Tuhan kami, berilah kepada kami kejayaan di dunia dan di akhirat. Ya Allah ya Tuhan kami, jadikanlah kami orang-orang yang bersyukur. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azabannar. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Alhamdulillah, kita bersyukur pada Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. Pada hari ini kita dapat meneruskan kelas kita untuk minggu yang ke-9. Jadi insya-Allah pada hari ini kita akan masuk tajuk baru, iaitu increase in shareholding. Okey, jadi tajuk kita pada hari ini adalah increase in shareholding. Okey, jadi kita lihat sama-sama tajuk ini. Okey, so as an introduction, investor may acquire its shareholding in an entity in stages over a period of time. Okey, jadi maknanya kita nak kontrol satu-satu company itu bukanlah sentiasa dengan sekali beli saham kita terus dapat kontrol. Okey, it could take more than one time. Okey, so yang ini kita panggil stages ataupun piecemeal. Sometimes control obtained after a few acquisitions, or investor already has control and acquires more interest in the acquiry. Acquiring interest in an investee in stages is referred to piecemeal or step acquisition. Piecemeal acquisition process could be part of the strategic plan of the investor. Okay, this is the diagram for piecemeal acquisition. The first one is acquisition resulting in business combination. Okay, gradual acquisition. We start with simple investment and then followed by acquisition of shares that the investee become an associate and then the investee become a subsidiary. So in this situation, investor acquires control through a process more than one acquisition. That is the first one. The second one is increase in controlling interest. Okay, what does it mean? It means the investor has already controlled the investee. However, the investor want to control or want to increase the percentage further. So, investor has control over the acquiry and subsequently acquires more shares in the acquiry. And the third one is deemed acquisition. What is deemed acquisitions? Investors' interest in an entity increases without it buying further shares. There are a few consolidation issues in piecemeal acquisitions. And here we are going to discuss about 3 implications on piecemeal acquisition. The first implication is change in relationship. Change in relationship between investor and investee. So any changes in relationship will affect the consolidated financial statement. And then secondly, the implication is on the computation of goodwill and also the accounting treatment for goodwill. Okay, we know that when we acquire an associate, we also have to calculate goodwill. But that goodwill is not going to be shown in the statement of financial position. Whereas for the subsidiary, when we acquire a subsidiary, the goodwill will be stated in the statement of financial position. So we are going to use different accounting method. For acquisition of subsidiary, we are going to use acquisition method. For acquisition of associate, we are going to use equity method. Both, we are calculating the goodwill, but one goodwill will not be shown and another will be shown in the statement of financial position. And the third implication is accounting treatment of the investment in financial statement of the investor. Okay, so these are the three implications of piecemeal acquisition. Let's look at this example, relationship between investor and investee. Okay, the first one is acquisition number 1 on 1st January X1, whereby the investor acquire 10% interest in investee. 10% interest in investee. So it is known as simple investment. 10% is simple investment. So we have to show in the parents or in the investors statement of financial position, investment stated at cost or at fair value. And then second acquisition on 1st January X4. 1st January X4, what happened? The investor increased the percentage. The investor increased the percentage from 10% to 25%. From 10% to 25%. So the investee become an associate. Because associate is an investee whereby the investor holds more than 20%, but less than 50%. So 15% plus 10% is equal to 25%, and 25% is more than 20%. So the investee become an associate. So in this stage, we need to calculate the goodwill and we need to use the equity method. And then the third acquisition on 1st January X7, Ash acquire further 45%. Just now we have 25%. Now we add more. We add some other percentage, that is 45%. So 25% plus 45% is equal to 70%. Now it becomes a subsidiary. So we can see the three relationship. The first one is relationship as a simple investment. The second one is relationship as an associate. And the third one is relationship as a subsidiary. So we are going to use different accounting method for these three stages. And then the parent will prepare the consolidated financial statement from the date of business combination. So date of business combination happened on 1st January X7. What about computation of goodwill? Goodwill is calculated when the acquisition of interest in investee result in a business combination. Okay, this is a compulsory goodwill. I said just now, we calculate goodwill when we acquire an associate. However, that is not compulsory. The compulsory calculation of goodwill is whenever the investor acquire control. The investor acquire control in investee, therefore business combination take place. So goodwill must be calculated when business combination take place. If the parent acquire additional shares in the subsidiary, after the parent controls the subsidiary, no adjustment on previous goodwill. Let's say the first acquisition is already 55% and you have calculated the goodwill. So after that, subsequently, you want to increase 10% interest in that subsidiary. It becomes 65%. So you do not have to calculate the goodwill. No adjustment on previous goodwill. Okay. Increase in controlling interest is treated as a transaction between equity owners. That is the parent and non-controlling interest. Now, we don't have to calculate the goodwill, but we have to calculate gain or losses. Gain or losses on subsequent acquisition. And of course, when you increase the percentage, the percentage of non-controlling interest will decrease. And there is a transfer of net asset from the non-controlling interest to the parent. That's why we say this is a transaction between equity owners. Who are they? They are the parent and the non-controlling interest. What about the carrying amount of the investment? The carrying amount of the investment could be at cost. According to MFRS 127, separate financial statement, and MFRS 128, investment in associate as well as joint venture. Okay. It can also be at fair value based on MFRS 139, financial instrument, recognition and measurement. The changes go to the statement of profit or loss. And another one is the changes go to other comprehensive income, equity, and then to profit or loss on disposal. Okay. So this one is the carrying amount of the investment. Carrying amount of the investment. Acquisitions resulting in business combination. Okay, we are going to look at the first situation just now, gradual acquisition that lead to business combination. Subsidiary will be consolidated into consolidated financial statement from the date of business combination. In the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, the results of a performance will be consolidated from the date of business combination only, and all items, that is income, expenses, will be disclosed on a time apportionment basis. So for example, if the parent acquire control of the subsidiary on 1st January, so the parent start on 1st January consolidating the subsidiary. Consolidating here means to include the income, the expenses, the cost, the taxation of the subsidiary to the income, expenses, taxation of the group starting from 1st January. However, if the acquisition happened after that date, for example, on 1st April, if acquisition happened on 1st April, the parent will only consolidate the subsidiary starting from 1st April. It means the revenue is calculated based on 9/12 months. The cost, 9/12 months. The expenses, 9/12 months. The taxation, 9/12 months. So, the results of the subsidiary will only be consolidated starting from the date of business combination. What about the non-controlling interest? The non-controlling interest will be based on the interest held throughout the reporting period. This is in the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income. The non-controlling interest will be based on the interest held throughout the reporting period. Okay. What about the statement of financial position? In the statement of financial position, the assets and liabilities of the subsidiary will be consolidated as at year-end. So, we do not have to calculate by multiplying with the number of months for consolidated statement of financial position. We take the figure at the end of the year. Even though the acquisition happened on 1st December. Acquisition happened on 1st December, we still have to include 100% of the assets and liabilities of the subsidiary in the consolidated statement of financial position. What about the non-controlling interest? The non-controlling interest will be calculated based on what is the percentage at the end of the year. Okay, what is the percentage at the end of the year? So if the percentage is 40%, then we are going to multiply with 40% at the end of the year. That is in the statement of financial position. In the statement of profit or loss, it will be based on time. It will be based on time. For example, from January to March, the percentage of non-controlling interest is 40%. Okay, so we are going to take the first 4 months for non-controlling interest. For the calculation of non-controlling interest, 40%. And the rest of the months, starting from 1st May until 31st December, the percentage is 20%. So we are going to calculate the revenue, the cost, the expenses, and also the taxation based on 20%, starting from 1st May. Okay, so later we are going to look at the example. We are using the Excel file. And this is acquisition resulting in business combination gradual. Okay, when we want to calculate the goodwill, when you want to calculate the goodwill, what we are going to do, recognition and measurement of the goodwill. Okay, we are going to compare the consideration transferred plus non-controlling interest and the fair value of net asset on the date of acquisition. So date of acquisition is basically the date of business combination. Okay, so what we are going to do, we are going to put here the consideration transferred. The consideration transferred is the new one, yeah, the new acquisition. New acquisition, let's say the new acquisition is 10%. So we put here investment for the 10%. Okay, investment for the 10%. And then followed by the old investment. Yeah, we add the old investment. However, the old investment will not be stated at cost. The old investment will be stated at fair value on the date of business combination. So the fair value may be different from the cost. Okay, may be different from the cost. Okay, and then we add together the non-controlling interest. So that basically here it is 100%. Yeah, the second acquisition plus first acquisition plus non-controlling interest is actually 100% interest in subsidiary. And then we are going to compare with fair value of net asset of subsidiary on the date of business combination. Okay, and then we are going to find the difference, whether it is a goodwill or it is a bargain purchase. The previously acquired interest is measured at fair value and assumed virtually sold and repurchased at the fair value on the date of business combination. Okay, assumed to be virtually sold and repurchased. Yeah, virtually sold and repurchased. This one is acquisition, gradual acquisition, starting from simple investment, starting from associate and becoming a subsidiary. Jadi calculation of goodwill dia macam ni lah. Okay. Acquisition resulting in business combination. Okay. Of course, we are going to calculate the gain or losses from deemed disposal of the old investment. We said just now, the previously acquired interest is measured at fair value and assumed virtually sold. We do not sell, but virtually sold. Virtually sold and repurchased. Okay, so we have the book of investor as well as the book of the group. In the book of investor, the proceeds of previous acquisition, and that is the fair value on the date of business combination, we are going to compare with the cost of investment when we purchase last time. So the difference is known as gain or loss. This is in the book of the investor. The investor is the parent. However, in the books of the group, we are going to compare the proceed from previous acquisition. That is the virtual disposal. Okay. We are going to compare with carrying amount of the investment. The carrying amount of the investment. So the carrying amount will be the cost of the investment plus any post-acquisition reserve on previous acquisition. Let's say we have acquired 20% last time. So what is the cost for the 20%? And what are the post-acquisition reserve from the 20%? And we add together here, we get a carrying amount. So the proceeds compared to carrying amount, we are going to get the gain or loss for the group. So there is a bit different between in the book of investor and in the book of the group. So basically, we are not going to differentiate. We are not going to differentiate between the investor and the group. Okay, this one for the investor. And for the investor, actually, we are going to show in the analysis of financial statement. Whereas for the group, we are going to show the calculation as a separate calculation. And the gain or loss will be different because the calculation of the comparison here. We are comparing with carrying amount, and here the carrying amount is actually the cost. Here, the cost plus post-acquisition reserve. Next, just now is the first way of acquiring the control by way of gradual acquisition, and this one is increase in the control interest. We start with a control, and then we increase the percentage. When investor with control interest in the investee acquires additional shares, the investor interest will increase, and the non-controlling interest will reduce. MFRS 3 treats increase in controlling interest as a transaction between the equity owners. Any excess payment made to obtain from the non-controlling interest their share of the net asset on the date that the additional interest is acquired is taken into equity. Okay, so this one we are going to show the calculation to you. Okay, how are we going to transfer? Okay, how are we going to transfer the net asset? Yeah, the net asset of the subsidiary, yeah, from the non-controlling interest to the parent. We are going to show to you. I'm going to show to you. Okay, so for example here, from the first acquisition on 1st January X5, the parent already controls 70% of shares in subsidiary. So the percentage of holding is 70%, and the percentage of non-controlling interest is 30%. Okay, subsequently, on 1st April X5, 3 months after that, the parent acquire further 10%. So now, from 70%, it increased to 80%. It increased to 80%. Now, the percentage of holding is 80%, increased by 10%, and the percentage of non-controlling interest is 20%, reduced by 10%. So this reduction by 10% and increase by 10% is actually a transfer of net asset, yeah, from the non-controlling interest to the parent. Okay, can we see this what I call here timeline? This timeline, yeah. On 1st January X5, the percentage is 70%. Starting from 1st April, the percentage is 80%. So increase by 10%. At the end of the year, the percentage is still 80% and 20%. And then what happened is the profit for the year is 120,000 throughout the year. So how are we going to treat this transaction in the statement of financial position and statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income? Statement of financial position, as at 31st December, the non-controlling interest is 20%. So we do not consider the percentage from 30 to 20 in the statement of financial position. However, in the statement of profit or loss, for the year ended 31st December X5, the profit for the year will be attributable to non-controlling interest, okay, will be proportionate on a time basis. That is 30% for the first 3 months and 20% for the second 9 months. So how much is the profit for the first 3 months? Yeah, for the first 3 months is 30% times 3/12 times 120,000. Jadi berapa tu? Okay, 120,000 times 3/12 is 30,000, right? 30,000 kali dengan 30%. Okay, 30,000 kali dengan 30%. Manakala di sini pula 90,000 kali dengan 20%. Okay, so okay, ini kita dah tengok tadi 70%, yeah, increase to 80%, and the non-controlling interest reduced to 20%. Okay, increase in the controlling interest. Yeah, increase in the controlling interest. Just now we calculate for gradual acquisition. This one is for gradual acquisition. Okay, for gradual acquisition, kat situ ada gain or loss on subsequent acquisition. Okay, gain or loss on subsequent acquisition. Tetapi untuk yang acquisition yang kedua ni, okay, increase in the controlling interest. Okay, how to calculate the goodwill? The goodwill will only be calculated during the first business combination. Okay, during the first business combination. Maknanya masa percentage dia 70% itulah kita calculate goodwill. Okay, masa percentage dia 80%, we do not calculate the goodwill. So, the calculation of goodwill is consideration transferred at the time of 70% interest. Okay, we add the non-controlling interest and we compare the fair value and of net asset on the date of acquisition that resulted in a goodwill or bargain purchase. Whereas the gain or loss on subsequent acquisition, yeah, the gain or loss on subsequent acquisition, we are going to compare the consideration transferred, of 10% just now. Consideration transferred of 10%. Yeah, consideration transferred of 10%. The second acquisition is 10%, right? Okay, consideration transferred for the 10%. We compare with the fair value of net asset of subsidiary on the date of second acquisition, time 10%. So we are going to compare this. And the difference is basically gain or loss on subsequent acquisition. Gain or loss on subsequent acquisition. And remember that this amount, XX in bracket is one, is actually the amount of fair value of net asset that has been transferred from the non-controlling interest to the parent. It means the non-controlling interest is reduced by this amount and the parent is increased by this amount. Okay, so this one is the reduction in non-controlling interest value. Okay, basically that's all for this PowerPoint presentation, and I will continue with Excel file. Okay, let's look at the first example. The first example here is from simple investment to subsidiary. Yeah, from a simple investment to subsidiary. Okay, for those who have the book, we are refer to page 592. Otherwise, we just refer to this example, to this note. Okay, so what happened here? Okay, what happened here? Initially, the investee is a simple investment, whereby Ash only acquired 15%. Ash acquired 15% ordinary share in S on 1st January 20 X1. And the consideration transfer is 30,000. On the date of acquisition, the retained earning was 40,000. And on the date of second acquisition, the fair value of investment in S is 43,000. Okay. Subsequently, on 1st April 20x6, 1st April 20x6, how many years later? 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, 6. Jadi maknanya pada tahun yang ke-6, bulan 4, tahun yang ke-6, H acquired further 45%. Acquired further 45%. The first acquisition does not result in a control, does not result in a significant influence. It is only a simple investment. But the second acquisition, 45%, 45% result in a control because the percentage now is already 60%. So when there is a control, the control here is referring to more than 50%. Whenever a party is controlling another party, a business combination happen. Now, the percentage of holding is 60%, therefore the non-controlling interest is 40%. Okay. Okay, what is the cost of investment for the second acquisition? It is 135,000, and the fair value and the retained earning on the date of acquisition is 110. Okay, so what we have to assume here for this type of gradual acquisition? For this type of gradual acquisition, there are two acquisitions. The first acquisition result in a simple investment. Second acquisition result in a control. So what we are going to bear in mind? The first one is we dispose the earlier investment of 15%. Bukan real disposal. Tapi kita assume that we have disposed this 15% investment and then repurchase 60% investment. Jadi macam kita jual yang 15 tu, kemudian kita beli 60. Sebenarnya kita beli 45 saja. Kan? Actually we are only purchasing 45%. The first acquisition is 15%. The second acquisition is 45%. But for the accounting purpose, we assume that the first 15% has already been sold. So bila kita kata sold tu, maknanya ada calculation of gain or loss lah. Kita jual sebanyak 15%, kemudian kita beli semula sebanyak 60%, walaupun sebenarnya kita cuma beli 45%. Okay, jadi yang ni kena bear in mind, ya. So untuk gradual acquisition from simple investment to subsidiary, inilah kaedahnya, iaitu dispose the earlier investment and purchase new investment of 60%. Can you follow?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we continue with the example. Yeah. So example here we are given the set of statement of financial position and statement of profit or loss, the simple one. Okay. So we are given the statement of financial position of H and S. Okay. Ordinary share of S especially 100,000 here, and then retained profit brought down is 100,000, and profit after tax for the current year is 40,000. These are the most important items in the subsidiary. Okay, whereas the most important item in the parent is this one, investment in S, that is 165,000. So if you remember, 165,000 is actually coming from these two investment. The first investment is 30,000 and second investment is 135,000. So H is right in showing the 165,000. Okay, now the statement of profit or loss for the year ended 31st December 2006, okay, of the subsidiary is divided into two portions. The first portion is when the subsidiary is not a subsidiary, when the investee is only a simple investment, and the second portion is when the investee is a subsidiary. So we have to separate the profit into two. Yeah, the first 3 months is simple investment, and the second 9 months is a subsidiary. So Now you have a revenue of 150,000 for the subsidiary, and this 150,000 will be allocated to 3 months and 9 months. That result in 37,500 for 3 months, and 112,500 for 9 months. And then for the expenses, 22,500 for the 3 months and 67,500 for the 9 months. Okay, and then the profit also divided into 2 but not equal according to the number of months. 15,000 for 3 months, 45,000 for 9 months. The taxation also will be divided into 2, 3 months and 9 months, and the profit after tax is 10,000 and 30,000 respectively for 3 months and 9 months. Okay, so what we are going to do? When are we going to calculate the goodwill? The goodwill will only be calculated on 1st April 2006. Yeah, on 1st April 2006. So let us calculate the goodwill. Okay, when we calculate the goodwill, how are we going to calculate? Okay, how are we going to calculate? Now we have two acquisition. Yeah, we have two acquisition. The first acquisition is 15% and second acquisition is 45%. So how are you going to calculate? We calculate by showing both the 45% and the 15%. For the 45%, we are going to take the actual consideration transferred, that is 135,000. The actual one on the date of business combination, that is on 1st April 20x6. Whereas for the first acquisition, we are not going to take the 30,000. We are not going to take the 30,000. However, we are going to take the fair value of previous investment. So what is the fair value of previous investment? The fair value of previous investment is 43,000. So we put here 43,000. So the total fair value of investment made by the parent is actually 135,000 plus 43,000. Okay. And then we calculate the fair value of net asset. On the date of acquisition, we have share capital 100,000 and retained earning 110,000. How do we get this 110,000? Okay. 100,000 is profit brought forward and 10,000 is the portion of profit for the 3 months. Because we acquire on 1st April, therefore, the pre-acquisition profit will include the profit from 1st January until 31st March. That is 10,000. So, the retained earning on 1st April is 110,000. So, 100,000 plus 110,000 equal to 210,000. Okay. Next, we calculate the non-controlled interest by using this value. By using this value, 210,000, we calculate the non-controlled interest. Multiply by 40%, we get a figure of 84,000. So 135 plus 43 plus 84 equal to 262. And we compare with 210, we get a goodwill of 52,000. So the goodwill from the two acquisition is 52,000. Okay, 52,000. So when we calculate the goodwill, we calculate the goodwill on 1st April 2000x6, not 2000x1. 2000x6. Okay. Since just now we assume that there is a disposal. There is a disposal of previous interest, that is 15%. So we are going to calculate, is there any gain or losses from that deemed disposal? Okay. So from the deemed disposal, we are comparing the fair value of previous interest. The fair value of previous interest is 43,000. Yeah, the fair value of previous interest is 43,000 and the carrying value of investment. Ini bukan investment in associate. Carrying value of investment. Carrying value of investment is 30,000. Kan? 30,000 ni sebenarnya kita boleh terus letaklah dekat sini je. Carrying value of investment. Sebab dianya simple investment. So kita tak perlulah campur dengan share of profit semualah. Kalau associate adalah share of profit ya. Okay, so 43 minus 30 equal to 13. Ya, 43 minus 30 equal to 13. So kita dapat gain ke loss ni? Kita dapat gain ya. Kita dapat gain sebab kita punya fair value of previous interest lebih besar daripada cost of investment. So kita dapatlah 13,000 gain on disposal of previous investment. Okay, dan gain on disposal of previous investment ni akan masuk dalam statement of profit or loss lah. Yeah, statement of profit or loss. Okay, what is next? We have calculated the goodwill. We have calculated the disposal of previous interest. Okay, next kita buat analysis of financial statement. Okay, kita buat analysis of financial statement dulu. Okay, analysis of financial statement. Since the acquisition happened on 1st April in the current year, acquisition happened 1st April in the current year, therefore, there is no balance brought down of non-controlling interest. There is no balance brought down of retained profit of subsidiary because subsidiary does not exist on 1st January. Subsidiary only exists on 1st April. So, the only balance brought down available is retained earning of H. Retained earning of H, that is 90,000. Okay, 90,000 retained earning of H. We continue with the analysis of financial statement carried down. So, analysis of financial statement carried down, we have already got our non-controlling interest on 1st April. The non-controlling interest is 84,000. This one, we find the figure from the calculation of goodwill, 84,000. Next, we analyze the retained profit of S. Retained profit of S carried down from the question is 140. 100 plus 40. And on the date of acquisition, we have 110,000. Therefore, the post-acquisition profit brought down is only 30,000. Sorry. The post-acquisition profit carried down is 30,000. Okay. And 30,000 will be multiplied by 60% and 40%. 60% for the group, 40% for the non-controlling interest. So they are getting 18,000 and 12,000 respectively. And retained profit brought down and carried down of H. H, we can simply put here the retained profit carried down, that is 150. But we can also put as brought down plus current year. And please remember that we have a gain on disposal of investment of 13,000. So, the profit carried down of the parent is 163,000 here. We add together 18,000 plus 163 is 181, and 84 plus 12 is equal to 96. So this one is retained profit and retained profit carried down and non-controlling interest carried down. Okay, so after analyzing the balance of profit and the balance of non-controlling interest, we go back to the consolidated financial statement. Yeah, we go back to the consolidated financial statement. The first one is consolidated financial statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income for the year ended 31st December 2006. Okay, so let's look at this one. How are we going to consolidate the revenue of H&S? Okay, we consolidate the revenue of H&S. Okay, H is 100%. S is 150,000 times 9 over 12. Why 9 over 12? Because acquisition happened on 1st April. It becomes a subsidiary on 1st April. So, revenue is 412.5. What about expenses? Expenses is full expenses of the parent plus 9 months expenses of the subsidiary. That equals to 252.5. And then there is a gain or disposal of investment, 13,000. Profit before tax is 173. And taxation, please remember also, taxation here is full taxation for the parent and 9 over 12 taxation of the subsidiary. And the profit after tax of the group is 103,000. Out of this 103,000, some portion goes to NCI and the balance goes to the parent. Let's calculate how much is going to be attributable to the non-controlling interest. Okay, the profit after tax for the 9 months is 30,000 times 40%. It is equal to 12,000. Okay, this 12,000 will be brought here. So 103 minus 12 equal to 91. So 12,000 for the non-controlling interest and 91,000 for the parent. What is next? Next is statement of changes in equity. So for the statement of changes in equity, we are going to base on analysis of financial statement brought down and analysis of financial statement carried down. From the analysis of financial statement brought down, there is only group retained earning brought down of 90. Whereas for the non-controlling interest, we do not have balance brought down. Non-controlling interest is happening during the year. So we put under acquisition of subsidiary during the year 84. Okay. And then we add the current year profit for the group and for the non-controlling interest. That is 91 and 12 respectively. And at the end of the year, the balance carried down is 181 for the group retained earning and 96 for the non-controlling interest. And lastly, statement of financial position. So how the statement of financial position look like after we have completed all the process? The sundry asset comprised of sundry asset of the parent and subsidiary. Do not multiply with 9 months. Remember, we take the sundry asset of the subsidiary in full. Goodwill as per calculation 52. Investment in associate we have eliminated. Ordinary share is ordinary share of the parent only. Retained earning from the analysis as well as from the statement of changes in equity. And the non-controlling interest also from the changes in equity as well as analysis of financial statement. And lastly, the liability of the parent is added together with the liabilities of the subsidiary. So total asset is 887,000. Total equity and liabilities also 887,000. Okay, class? Are you okay with the explanation for this example?
Yes, Prof.
Okay, hopefully you can understand. So that is the first one. The first one under the gradual acquisition that lead to control. So remember this one is from simple investment to subsidiary. The first acquisition, it becomes a simple investment. The second acquisition, it becomes a subsidiary. Okay. So nanti kita akan tengok lagi from associate to subsidiary dan juga from subsidiary to subsidiary. Okay, kita akan break sekejap, 5 minit dan kita akan masuk semula lah. Ya. Okay. Okey, kita kembali semula ke kelas kita. Kita tengok example yang kedua, associate to subsidiary. Okay, so associate to subsidiary, kita tengok ya. Jadi kalau tadi 15% plus 45%, dia jadi 60%. Okay, tapi kali ini dia start dengan 40%. Dia start dengan 40%. So 40% is already an associate. So on 1st January 20X2, Ash acquired 40% interest in S. So S is an associate. The consideration transferred is 67. Okay, retained earning on that date was 45. And the fair value on 1st January X5 is 90,000. So peningkatan sebanyak 23,000 meningkat. Okay. Kemudian H acquire further 30%, menjadikan total percentage is 70%. So masa ni dia dah jadi subsidiary lah. 1st January 20X5, S becomes a subsidiary. And the second acquisition require H to pay 80,000 consideration. And on this date, the retained earning was 100,000. Okay. So we can see the movement from 40% to 70%. First acquisition is 40%. Second acquisition is 30%. Okay. So what we have to bear in mind, it is the same as from simple investment to subsidiary, whereby we bear in mind that there is a disposal of associate of 40%. Okay. In fact, there is no disposal, but we have to assume that there is a disposal of 40%. Disposal of 40% and purchase of 70%. Okay. In simple investment just now, there is a disposal of 15% and a purchase of 60%. And here, there is a disposal of 40% and there is a purchase of 70%. So the accounting treatment is the same as investment in simple investment. Okay, let's go through the account. The statement of financial position as at 31st December 20X5. Okay. The most important item in the subsidiary is ordinary share 100,000, retained profit 100,000, and profit for the year is 40,000. And the most important item in H is investment in S 147,000. Okay. What we are going to do next? The process is the same as simple investment just now. Okay. We are going to calculate the goodwill. So how are we going to calculate the goodwill? We are going to list down the two investments. The first investment is here. Fair value of previous investment. What is the fair value of previous investment? Last time we purchased investment at 67,000. That is the cost. But the fair value is 90,000. So we put here fair value. I put here the note fair value, not cost. And then the consideration transferred of the second acquisition. That is 30%. 30% is 80,000. So altogether 80 plus 90. 170,000. Then we list down the fair value of net asset acquired. Share capital 100,000. Retained earning is 100,000. The total is 200,000. Then we calculate the non-controlling interest 200,000 times 30% equal to 60,000. 80 plus 90 plus 60 equal to 230. Compare with 200,000. We get the goodwill of 30,000. Okay, we get the goodwill of 30,000. Next, we calculate the gain or loss on disposal. Okay, gain or loss on disposal. We remember when we have an associate, we are going to account the associate based on equity method. So when we want to compare the fair value of investment and the carrying amount of investment in associate, okay, the carrying amount of investment in associate will also include share of profit of associate. For simple investment, there is no share of profit. For associate, yes, there is a share of profit. So the initial cost of investment is 67,000. The share of profit from associate is that is retained profit before increase in shares. Retained profit before increase in shares. What is the retained profit before increase in shares? It is 100,000. What is the amount of retained profit on the date of acquisition of associate last time? 45,000. So the post-acquisition profit is 55,000 times 40% equal to 22,000. So what is the carrying amount of investment in associate? 67 plus 22, that is equal to 89. Now we are comparing the fair value of previous investment, that is 90,000, and the carrying amount of investment in associate, that is 89,000. So are we going to get a gain or loss on disposal? The answer is gain on disposal, because the fair value is greater than the carrying amount, even by 1,000. Okay, 1,000. 1,000 pun dikira sebagai gain juga. Okay. So next step, sama dengan tadi, kita pergi kepada analysis of financial statement. Brought down. So analysis of financial statement brought down pun sama juga macam tadi. Okay. Walaupun acquisition berlaku pada 1 hari bulan Januari 20X5, tetapi itu tidak dikira sebagai balance brought down. Balance brought down is after it becomes carried down. Semalam carried down, hari ini brought down. So kalau dia wujud hari ini, belum jadi brought down lagi. So acquisition berlaku pada 1 Januari 20X5, itu bukan brought down. Jadi there is no brought down for S. There is no non-control interest for S. Brought down. So untuk brought down, kita ada H sahaja, iaitu retained earning brought down 90 plus share of profit of associate 22. So equal to 112. Retained profit brought down 112. Analysis of financial statement carried down. We start with non-controlling interest that we have just calculated, 60. The retained profit carried down of subsidiary now is 140. Then on the date of acquisition, 100. So 40,000 is post-acquisition retained profit carried down. Multiply with 70%, equal to 28 here. And multiply with 30%, 12 here. Next, retained profit brought down of the parent, 90, brought down, current year 60, share of profit of associate 22, and gain on disposal of associate is 1. Gain on disposal of associate is 1. Jadi associate ni masih wujud lagi. Masa bila? Acquisition of associate berlaku pada berapa bulan tadi? 1 Januari 20X2 dan acquisition of subsidiary pada 1 Januari 20X5. Okay. Jadi dalam statement, dalam analysis of financial statement, dalam analysis of financial statement, kita ada ni share of profit ni adalah share of profit yang lama, bukan yang baru. Share of profit yang lama. Untuk yang baru kita ambil profit ni 28. 28 ni adalah profit of S for the current year. Yang 22 ni adalah profit pada tahun lepas lah. Share of profit tahun lepas. Sebab carried down, kita incorporate yang tahun lepas, yang tahun ni, semua sekali kita incorporate. Okey, dan kita dapat kita punya group retained earning 20 and 1 dan non-controlling interest adalah 72. Okey kelas, jadi saya berhenti sekejap di sini. Ada apa-apa soalan berkaitan dengan analysis of financial statement? Sekiranya ada nak tanya. Ada tak nak tanya apa-apa soalan analysis of financial statement?
Kalau yang share of profit tu dia dikira lama sebab apa?
Mana yang ni? 22 ni?
Mm-mm.
22 ni, okey. 22 ni kita nampak dalam breakdown tadi pun dah ada. Okey, dalam breakdown ni dah ada. Dalam carry down pun ada jugalah sebab dia carry down ni maknanya daripada mula sampai sekarang. Kan? Daripada mula sampai sekarang. Jadi, dia bukan merujuk kepada tahun semasa. Tahun semasa saya kata tadi, the current year profit of S, ni yang ni. Ni current year profit. Ni current year profit 40. Lepas tu portion untuk group adalah 28. Ini current year punya cerita. Current year punya cerita. Tetapi untuk yang retain profit of H tadi, okay, maknanya dia merangkumi tempoh semasa S adalah associate juga. Jadi dulu S adalah associate. Sekarang ni adalah subsidiary. Jadi dulu dia pernah dapat profit sebanyak, share of profit sebanyak 22. Jadi kena masuk jugalah share of profit sebanyak 22 tu. Ya. Walaupun profit ni adalah profit daripada tahun-tahun yang lepas. Ya, profit daripada tahun yang lepas, bukan pada tahun ni. Yang pada tahun ni adalah gain on disposal ni pada 1 hari bulan Januari 20x5. Okey. Seterusnya kita pergi kepada consolidated statement of profit or loss. Okey. Jadi kita nampak perbezaan dia kat sini. Consolidated statement of profit or loss. Associate ni jadi subsidiary pada 1 Januari. Jadi revenue, we are going to combine the revenue in full. Revenue of the parent and revenue of the subsidiary in full. 300 plus 150. Expenses also full. Okay. Kemudian taxation also full. And the gain on disposal of associate kat sini. Masuk dalam SOPL lah. Okay. Masuk dalam SOPL dan juga masuk dalam analisis tadi pun masuk juga. Okay. Kemudian profit after tax. Our profit after tax is 101. Daripada 101 tadi, 12,000 attributable to the non-controlling interest. Sama dengan tadi. Okay. Sama dengan tadi ya. So profit after tax. Profit after tax of 12 months is 40,000 times 30% equal to 12. Jadi 12 adalah retain profit attributable to non-control interest. Manakala bakinya 89 akan pergi kepada parent lah. Ya. Okey. Seterusnya statement of changes in equity. Just now the balance brought down is only group retained earning, NCI no balance brought down. Okay, and then there is an acquisition of subsidiary during the year on 1st January 20x5 amounting to 60,000 NCI. And lastly is profit after tax for the year 89 for the GRE and 12 for NCI. So, at the end of the year, the balance carried down of group retained earning is 201 and non-controlling interest is 72. And lastly, the statement of financial position is sundry asset. We combine together the asset of the parent and the asset of the subsidiary. Goodwill here is goodwill of S on 1st January 20x5 Investment in subsidiary be eliminated. Ordinary share of the parent, retained earning and non-controlled interest we find from here. Analysis of financial statement carried down 201 and 72, as well as from the statement of changes in equity. Jadi kalau kita tengok kat sini, statement of changes in equity mesti balance dengan analysis of financial statement. Okay. Dan last sekali kita ada liability 80 plus 30 equal to 110. Okay. Jadi itu sajalah untuk investment in associate. Tetapi yang ini investment in associate ni dia bertukar menjadi subsidiary pada 1 hari bulan Januari. Pada 1 hari bulan Januari. Apa kata kalau dia bertukar menjadi subsidiary pada pertengahan tahun, bukan Januari? Dia bertukar bukan pada 1 Januari tetapi pada tarikh lain. Katakanlah dia bertukar pada 1 hari bulan April, macam mana pula cerita dia? Okay. So, kita stop sekejap kat sini. Sekiranya ada apa-apa soalan. Selain daripada soalan yang 22 tadi, share of profit, ada lagi tak soalan? Yang lain-lain. Kita punya first test pada 18 18 hari bulan Jun. Sekarang ni berapa bulan? Sekarang ni 5 hari bulan 6. 5 hari bulan 6, 18, maknanya ada 13 hari lagi. 13 hari Pada hari apa ya test? 18 tu pada hari
Sabtu.
18 Jun pada hari Saturday. Pada hari Sabtu. Lepas tu 2 minggu lepas tu pula test tu pula Sekejap saya tengok tarikh test tu. Sekali lah nak maklumkan test 1 dengan test 2 ni. Test 1 pada 18 dan test 2 pada 2 Julai. 2 Julai Jadi kalau ikut jadual asal ni, kedua-duanya test dia pada waktu pagi 9 hingga 10.30 pagi. Okay. Sehinggalah ada perubahan. Kalau tak ada apa-apa perubahan, itulah dia punya tarikh dia. Kalau ada perubahan, saya akan maklumkan. Okay. So, tadi saya kata, kalau acquisition berlaku pada pertengahan tahun, macam mana keadaan dia? Kita tengok example yang ketiga. So, example yang ketiga ni, acquisition of subsidiary daripada associate. Associate selama beberapa tahun, daripada 1 Januari 20X2 sampailah pada 1 hari bulan Oktober 20X5. Tahun 2, tahun 3, tahun 4. Okay, pada tahun yang keempat. Pada tahun yang keempat selepas acquisition yang pertama, dia menjadi subsidiary. So, kita tengok kat sini. Kita tengok kat sini. Acquisition, the first acquisition is 40% already an associate. 1st January 20X2 and the consideration transferred is 67. The profit on the date of acquisition was 45. And the fair value on the second acquisition is 90,000. Then second acquisition is 30%. 30% plus 40 is equal to 70%. NCI is 30%. Okay, the date of acquisition of second acquisition is 1st October 20X5. Consideration transferred is 80,000. And retained earning on that date was 130,000. And fair value of net asset ataupun fair value of the investment is 80,000. hari yang sama, jadi samalah. Okay. So, yang ni pula, what we should bear in our mind? What we should bear in our mind sama dengan yang contoh 1 dan contoh 2, iaitu we sold the 40% interest. We sold the 40% interest on 1st October 20x5, and on the same day purchase 70% interest, yeah, in the same day. Jadi daripada simple investment kepada subsidiary, kita assume jual kemudian beli. Daripada associate kepada subsidiary, kita assume jual dan kemudian beli semula. Okay. So inilah dia punya statement of financial position of the two companies. Jadi kita tengok sini sama saja dengan example 1 dan example 2 tadi. Dari segi profit dia, so kita nampak profit kat sini, retained profit brought down 100 and profit for the year is 40. Okay, jadi profit for the year 40 ni, kita kena agihkan lah ya, mengikut 9 bulan dan 3 bulan. 9 bulan pertama kita dapat 15. Sorry, bukan 15. 9 bulan pertama kita dapat 30. Dan 3 bulan yang kedua kita dapat 10. Yang ni kan 10 dengan 30. Okay, boleh ya ni yang pasal calculation of profit or loss ni ya. Ada apa persoalan tak calculation of profit or loss ni? Ni kita dapat 9 bulan, macam mana dapat 3 bulan ni? Are you following or not? Follow tak ni 9 bulan 3 bulan ni?
Boleh sir.
Boleh ya? Okay. So kita kembali kepada soalan. Kita tengok tadi retain profit brought down 100. Current year is 40. So 40 tu datangnya daripada, yelah, pada statement of profit or loss ni, 150 minus 90 minus 20 equal to 40. And the 40 will be divided into 2. The first 9 months is 30. And the second 3 months is 10. Jadi untuk post acquisition period, dia punya profit kita cuma 10,000. Untuk pre-acquisition pada tahun tersebut adalah 30,000. Jadi berapakah nilai retain profit on the date of acquisition? On the date of acquisition, 1st October 2005 tu, dia punya retain profit dia adalah 100 campur 30. Untuk kita calculate goodwill, dia punya retain profit adalah 100 campur 30. Mana datang 30? 30 datangnya daripada 9 bulan yang pertama ni lah, 30. So, apakah yang kita perlu buat? Next adalah to calculate the goodwill ya. So, goodwill. To calculate the goodwill, ingat kita ada 2 item kat sini tadi, iaitu consideration transfer untuk second acquisition sebanyak 80,000 dan fair value of previous investment sebanyak 40%, iaitu 90,000. Okey, kemudian fair value of net asset acquired, share capital 100 and retained earning is 100 plus 30, 130. So here 230 fair value of net asset dan controlling interest is 30% of that. So 230 times 30% equal to 69. 80 plus 90 plus 69 equal to 239. Kita compare dengan 230, dapatlah goodwill sebanyak 9. Next, kita nak calculate gain or loss. Kita nak calculate gain or loss. Okay. Jadi kali ni kita dapat loss pula. Dapat loss pula ya. Fair value of previous investment is 90. Kemudian sekejap ya, ada gangguan pula ni. Nak suruh restart pula sekejap ya. Okay. Okay. Fair value of previous interest is 90,000. Kemudian kita compare dengan carrying value of investment in associate. Jadi kali ni amount dia lebih besar. Sebab sampai bulan 10 baru acquire. Okay. Jadi cost of investment 67. Kemudian share of profit kita. So share of profit adalah profit pada 1 hari bulan Januari 2005, 100,000 plus current year profit untuk 9 bulan adalah 30,000. Okay. Jadi nilai dia 130. Tolak dengan return earning on acquisition date of associate, that is 45. 130 minus 45 is equal to 85 times 40% equal to 34. So 67 plus 34 equal to 101. 101 fair value of investment ataupun kita panggil carrying value of investment. Carrying value of investment in associate is 101. Tetapi fair value dia cuma 90. Jadi kali ni kita kerugian sebanyak 11,000. 11,000. 11,000 ni deemed disposal. Deemed disposal kerugian sebanyak 11,000. Okey. Jadi 11,000 ni nak masuk dekat mana? 11,000 akan masuk dalam CSOPL OCI. Yang kita akan masukkan nanti dalam ni lah 11,000 Dalam statement of profit or loss ada 11,000 nanti. So macam biasa kita pergi kepada analisis dulu. Okey. Kita pergi pada analisis. Sama macam tadi, analisis kita tak ada breakdown kita tak ada breakdown untuk S. Kita ada breakdown untuk H sahaja. Breakdown untuk H sahaja. So retain earning breakdown 90 campur dengan share of profit of associate untuk tahun lepas lah. Sebanyak 22. Jadi 112. 112. Untuk analisis carry down. Kita dah ada non-control interest on the date of acquisition 69. Kita ada profit dah S retain profit carry down 140 minus on the date of acquisition 130. Jadi yang post acquisition ni sebenarnya 10 saja. Dan 10 ni betul sebenarnya. 10 ni kita kira tadi memang untuk 3 bulan tu dia dapat 10 saja. 10 kali dengan 70% kita dapat 7 untuk GRE dan 30% 3 untuk NCI Seterusnya retain profit breakdown of H 90, current year 60, share of profit daripada tahun lepas 22. Itu tahun lepas Kemudian current year ada lagi. Selama 9 bulan tu dia share profit of associate sebanyak 12,000. Mana dapat 12,000 ni? This is share profit of current year. Share profit of current year. Current year tadi, current year associate adalah daripada bulan 1 sampai bulan 9. Profit dia sebanyak 30,000. Betul? So, 30,000 kali dengan 40%. 30,000 kali dengan 40%. Saya tunjukkan dekat sini lah 30,000 kali 40%. So, kita dapatlah jawapan di sebelah ni sebanyak 12,000 share of profit for the current year. And don't forget, you have loss on disposal of 11,000. Jadi, total retain profit of H at the end of the year is 173 plus yang didapat daripada S sebanyak 7. Totalnya 180. Manakala non-control interest totalnya adalah 72. Kita terus pergi kepada consolidated statement of profit or loss. Disebabkan acquisition of subsidiary tadi berlaku pada 1 hari bulan 10, maka revenue of the subsidiary cuma 3 bulan saja. 300 plus 150 times 3 over 12. Expenses 185 plus 90 times 3 over 12. Dan kita campur dengan share of profit of associate for the current year. Kita tolak dengan loss on disposal of associate. Kita dapat profit before tax, tolak taxation. Taxation is 55 plus 20 times 3 over 12. Profit after tax 71. Ada bahagian untuk NCI juga. Okay. So NCI sebanyak 3,000. 3,000 mana dapat ni? 3,000 dapat daripada total profit for the year daripada 1 Oktober sampai 31 Disember sebanyak 10,000 kali dengan 30%, kita dapatlah 3. So 3 bawa naik ke atas. 71 minus 3 equal to 68. 68 is for the parent. So 68 and 3 just now we brought to statement of changes in equity here, 68 and 3. Okay. So balance brought down of group retained earning as per analysis of financial statement is 112. Non-control interest is for the year 69 plus profit 3 equal to 72, and balance carried down of group retained earning 112. 112 plus 68 equal to 180. Okay. Jadi 180 ni kalau kita perasan tadi, 180 ni sama dengan amount dalam analysis of financial statement, ya, untuk carry down. Begitu juga dengan non-controlling interest 72 ni. So last kali consolidated statement of financial position, sundry asset is sundry asset of the parent and subsidiary. Jangan kali dengan 3/12. Goodwill, kita ada tadi goodwill 9. Dan last kali, kita ada ordinary share 500, retained earning and non-controlling interest from the schedule, as well as from the statement of changes in equity, dan liabilities 80 plus 30, ya, 80 plus 30 untuk parent dan subsidiary. Okay. Ini acquisition of subsidiary during the year. Ya, example yang sebelumnya, acquisition of subsidiary daripada associate at the beginning of the year. Dan example 1 adalah simple investment to subsidiary. Okay, jadi ada apa-apa soalan kat situ? Untuk yang subsidiary to subsidiary ni kita ambil masa sikit sebab dia tak sama dengan simple to subsidiary, associate to subsidiary dan associate to subsidiary ni tak sama. Jadi masa yang ada ni tak cukup lah untuk saya nak discuss. Ya, kita boleh tengok tapi saya prefer untuk kita selesaikan dia pada satu masa saja. Maknanya bukan sambung-sambung sebab dia ada lain sikit. Ya, subsidiary to subsidiary ni ada lain sikit treatment dia. Jadi saya akan sambung pada hari Rabu lah untuk yang subsidiary to subsidiary. Okey, ada apa soalan untuk simple to subsidiary, associate to subsidiary at the beginning of the year dan juga associate to subsidiary during the year? Kalau ada soalan, sila tanya. Ataupun nak soalan-soalan lain pun boleh juga.
Sir,
Ya.
Berkaitan dengan financial analysis tu, kadang-kadang dia dekat BD pun dia ada tulis item tu. Kadang-kadang dekat CD pun dia ada tulis juga benda yang ada dekat BD tu. Sama. Macam kopi 2 kali kan. apa sebenarnya logik dua benda tu ada dekat dua-dua tempat sekali, PD dengan CD?
Okey. Dia sebenarnya bukan kira logik tau. Dia kira fakta lah. Sebenarnya fakta dia. Dalam fakta tu dia ada ke tidak. Jadi, okeylah. Kita tengok kat sini breakdown. Mungkin awak masih lagi merujuk kepada 22 ni lah mungkin. Saya rasa lah. 22 ni kalau kita tengok 22 ni, ini merujuk kepada share of profit of associate tahun lepas. Tahun lepas. Sebab tu dia duduk dalam breakdown. Jadi, apakah dia breakdown? Breakdown ni maknanya apa yang exist daripada tahun lepas. Maknanya bermula daripada tahun lepas ataupun tahun sebelum-sebelumnya sampailah first day of the year. Kan? Contohnya kalau acquisition berlaku pada tahun 2020. So, breakdown pada tahun ini adalah 1 Januari 22. Kan? Jadi maknanya daripada 2020 sampailah 22 tu, itulah dia breakdown. Itulah dia breakdown. So, apa-apa yang berlaku pada tempoh breakdown tadi, kita bolehlah letak dalam analysis breakdown. Okey. Jadi, dalam breakdown tu, dekat sini, yang wujud hanyalah holding sahaja. Holding sahaja. Okey. Yang wujud hanyalah holding sahaja dan subsidiary belum wujud saja. Belum wujud lagi masa breakdown tu. Okey. Tetapi apakah komponen dalam profit of H? Apakah komponen dalam profit of H? Jadi, komponen dalam profit of H ni of course lah dia ada retain profit breakdown. Breakdown ni dia punya sendiri. Breakdown ni dia punya sendiri. Tetapi share of profit of associate ni, share of profit of associate ni, dia bukan profit dia sendiri tetapi profit of associate. Profit of associate. Jadi kalau kita nak tunjuk kat sini pun sebenarnya boleh juga kan. Untuk S ni, kita tunjukkan kat sini retain profit from associate. Boleh juga, maknanya kita tunjukkan amount dia sebanyak 22. 22. Amount profit of associate 22. Lepas tu amount profit from H 90. Jadi 22 campur 90, 112. Tetapi untuk mengelakkan confuse, sebab kita nak cerita tentang subsidiary kan. Nak mengelakkan confuse, kita masukkan profit, share of profit of associate tu dalam H lah. Kita nak mengelakkan confuse. Sebab kita nak tunjukkan bahawa retain profit of S sebagai subsidiary tu belum ada lagi. Sebagai associate memang dah ada 22 tu. Jadi maknanya S ni sebenarnya dah ada retain profit breakdown tapi sebagai associate bukan sebagai subsidiary. Okey, itu yang pertama. Kemudian yang kedua, bila kita tengok kita punya analysis of financial statement carried down. Analysis of financial statement carried down. Okey. Persoalan yang sama juga. Sekarang ni S telah menjadi subsidiary. Jadi bila S telah menjadi subsidiary, maka kita ambillah retain profit carried down of S. Retain profit carried down of S daripada statement of financial position, iaitu breakdown 100. Lepas tu current dia 40. Jadi 140. Boleh tak kalau kita nak letakkan di 100 breakdown dan current dia 40? Boleh juga. Kemudian kita akan tolak dengan retain profit on the date of acquisition sebanyak 130. So, retain profit carried forward, post acquisition retain profit carried forward sebenarnya cuma 10,000 saja. Dan 10,000 ni sama dengan calculation kita yang asal tadi, iaitu profit untuk 3 bulan adalah 10,000. Dan 10,000 ni adalah amount yang kita kena agihkan kepada group sebanyak 70% dan kepada non-controlling interest sebanyak 30%. Okey, yang itu pun settle juga. Sekarang ni, kita nak cerita pula retain profit breakdown of H. So, retain profit breakdown of H ni, okey, retain profit breakdown of H, boleh tak kita letak terus retain profit carried down of H? 150,000, jawapan dia boleh. Okey, so 150,000. 150,000. Lepas tu, of course lah, kita tolak dengan loss on disposal of associate. Kita tolak dengan loss on disposal of associate sebanyak 11. 150 tolak 11. Kemudian kita tengok kat sini. Kat sini kita ada item of share of profit of associate ni. Saya nak highlightkan kat sini. Share of profit as associate. So share of profit of associate ni dia dah wujud daripada tahun lepas lagi. Bila kita kata carried down, maknanya daripada dulu sampailah pada hari ini. Kalau brought down tu sampai 1 Januari. Kalau carried down sampailah 31 Disember. Jadi apa yang berlaku di masa yang lepas sampai 31 Disember termasuklah share of profit of associate ni. Ini adalah baki share of profit daripada tahun lepas. Yang dibawa ke tahun ini, yang ni pula adalah share of profit of associate untuk tahun ini sebelum dia menjadi subsidiary. Jadi sebelum dia menjadi subsidiary, selama 9 bulan tu dia masih lagi associate. Dan parent masih lagi layak untuk share dia punya profit sebanyak 40%. Okey. Jadi mungkin yang jadi persoalan tadi tu, kenapa ada 22 di atas, kan? Ada 22 dalam brought down, ada ulangan balik 22 dalam carried down. Sebabnya memang faktanya profit brought down daripada associate memang 22 dan profit brought down tadi dibawa ke carried down sebanyak 22, masih ada lagi. Okay, masih ada lagi 22 tadi. In fact, kalau untuk tahun lepas, tahun depan katakan tahun depan 2005, 22 ni pun masih wujud lagi. Tetapi untuk tahun depan dia akan jadi 34. Sebab apa? Untuk tahun depan dia akan jadi 22 campur 12. Brought down tu 22 campur 12. Let's say lah kita buat consolidated financial statement untuk tahun 2006. Dia akan jadi 34 lah kat sini, bukan 22. Macam sekarang ni, brought down 22, carried down pun 22 campur 12. Untuk tahun depan, dia akan jadi 34. Sebab 22 campur 12. Okey, tetapi untuk yang loss on disposal ni, untuk tahun ni saja. Loss on disposal untuk tahun ni saja. Okey, kelas? Boleh ke?
Okey, boleh sir.
Okey. Yang lain? Ada tak yang lain nak tanya? Ada tak apa-apa janji yang saya berjanji dengan awak yang saya tak bagi lagi? Ada nak bagi apa masa cuti tapi saya tak bagi? Ada tak? Kalau ada tolong tuntut takut saya lupa.
Saya nak tanya.
Ya.
Yang share of associate profit tadi yang 100 tolak 45 tu, 100 tu yang retain earning. Retain profit.
Retain profit brought down.
Okay.
45 tu adalah on the date of acquisition of associate. Dia jadi masalah ni sebab acquisition tu berlaku 2 kali. Yang pertama acquisition sebagai associate. Masa tu retain profit dia 45. Kemudian yang kedua acquisition of subsidiary. Profit dia 130. 2 kali. Ada lagi kelas?
Kenapa tak ambil yang 34 yang kita kira associate dia yang dekat working tool tu?
Sorry, tak clear suara. Suara bergema.
Yang working tool tu.
Okey, sekarang ni awak pakai apa? Awak pakai mikrofon ke pakai apa? Saya tak dengar suara awak ni. Kalau awak pakai earphone, mungkin boleh tanggalkan earphone.
Hilang. Dengar.
Suara bergema.
Bergema.
Ataupun awak nak tulis. Dia tak jelas butir-butir dia tu. Saya okey je nak jawab, tapi tak jelas butir-butir dia.
Sebab saya nak tanya yang working to associate, kan kita dah cari yang 34 tu. Kenapa kita tak ambil yang 34 tu masukkan dalam NAC?
Betul, saya tak dengar ni. Saya dengar suara awak tapi dia tak jelas butir-butir dia. Awak pakai ni ke? Awak pakai earphone ke? Ataupun pakai headphone? Boleh ada orang lain yang boleh mendengar soalan tadi dan boleh ulang balik soalan pada saya?
Tak jelas juga.
Jadi tak, bila tak jelas tu saya tak boleh nak jawab. Dia punya butir-butir dia. Ataupun awak boleh WhatsApp sekarang dia punya soalan tu. Saya tengok WhatsApp. Okay, saya tunggu dekat WhatsApp.
Saya wakilkan untuk Syazana tanya tadi.
Okey, okey.
Dia tanya kenapa kena ambil yang 22 bukan 34 dari computation yang working tu.
Oh ni. Kenapa tak ambil 34?
Ya.
Untuk working nombor 2.
Ya.
Working nombor 2 ke analysis of financial statement?
Working 2 computation tu tadi.
Working 2 ya, sekejap. Working 2 ni sekejap. Sekejapnya. Okey. Ni duduk sebelah ke? Boleh awak duduk sebelah?
Sebelah? Tak, dia WhatsApp saya.
Okey, tak nak WhatsApp saya. Okey, tak apa. Okey, kat sini ya. Okey. So soalannya tadi?
Kenapa ambil yang 32 bukan yang 34 yang share of profit of associates?
Working 2?
Yang bawah sekali yang atas gain on loss tu kan ada 34. 34,000. Yang tu.
Okey, 34,000 ni kan dia kombinasi daripada 22 dengan 12. Tapi dekat sini calculation dia kita tak separate. Awak tengok kat sini 100 campur 30. 100 campur 30 tolak 45. Jadi ini adalah bermula daripada acquisition yang pertama ya. Iaitu pada 1 Januari 20X2. Terus kepada tarikh 1 hari bulan 10. Terus kepada tarikh 1 hari bulan 10. Jadi kita tak pecahkan. Sebab tu kita ambil 34 terus. Macam tadi kita ambil 22 dan 12 tadi sebab ada 2 tarikh. Iaitu tarikh pertama adalah brought down. Tarikh yang kedua adalah carried down. Dan kita kena separatekan current year dengan last year. Yang ni. Tapi adakah betul ataupun salah kalau awak terus tunjukkan 34? Awak nak tunjuk 34 kat sini boleh, tapi kena tunjukkan jalan dia lah kat sini. 22 campur 12. Lepas tu awak tuliskan 34 pun boleh juga. Tapi kena ada jalan lah. Sebab kat sini memang kita nak kena tunjukkan asing-asing. Jadi kena nak tunjukkan asing-asing. Untuk tahun depan kita boleh tunjuk 34. Yang ni kita kena asingkan share of profit last year dan share of profit this year. Kalau saya tunjukkan terus kat sini 34, nanti awak akan bermasalah bila nak buat statement of profit or loss. Nanti awak akan tunjuk 34 juga. Sedangkan untuk tahun semasa cuma 12. Jadi nampak tak kenapa kita asingkan 22 dengan 12 tadi. Bila saya tunjuk kat sana 34, nanti awak tanya pula, "Sir, kenapa sini 12?" Nampak tak? Is that okay? Okey.
Okey.
Okey, saya harap okey lah. Kalau tak okey lagi, boleh call pula lah. Boleh call saya insyaAllah. Okey, saya rasa kelas kita pada hari ini masa pun dah habis. Saya ada kelas yang satu lagi. Jadi kalau ada apa-apa soalan, saya suka sebenarnya interaktif kelas ni. Bila awak bertanya ni, saya tahu apa yang student tak faham. Okey, so kita akhiri kelas kita pada pagi ini dengan surah Wal-Asr. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wal asri innal insana lafi khusr illa allazina amanu wa amilus solihat wa tawassaw bil haqq wa tawassaw bis sabr. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih, Prof.
Sama-sama.
Terima kasih, Prof.
Sama-sama.
Terima kasih, Pak.